Well, a very good morning and welcome to Oberhof. We have a little bit of sunshine for the first time this week and a couple of centimetres of snow overnight certainly improved the picture, but there is nowhere near enough snow to make the racing easy. The tracks are going to be very fast and a little bit dirty as well after the weather of the last couple of days. Well, it's all about the relays today. The officials have been out on the track all night long trying to get the track into a decent condition. We saw a lot of falls yesterday. The big problem, Mike, is that under the fresh snow that was there until the rain came is a patch of ice. You know, the artificial snow, much more moisture in it. It basically solidifies after a week. And once you remove the surface, you just have sheet ice underneath.
And that is the problem. As soon as you put that machine-made snow, the crystals are more like sugar, so they brush away very quickly.
From what we saw on Thursday, Mike, Norway should be the hot favourites to win this one. They've won both relays so far this year, but they were on pretty good form in the sprint on Thursday.
Yes, on paper you would favour the Norwegians. The first athlete, Solendal, maybe the only weak link.
Well, Julia Simon put in a fine performance, shot 1-0, missing one on that first prone, which she may have thought put her out of contention for a top 3 position, but no, great downhill skills and excellent standing shooting from Simon, putting her back on the podium. And of course, she was chasing Denise Herman. Herman, much better over recent weeks. She's now had 4 consecutive top 6 results. This was her first time on the podium, second place. And at last, the Germans have something to cheer about. It's been a dismal season for them so far.
It has, and yes, of course, Herman, her Christmas in Davos certainly helped. But Reuschland, her break, and she said she needed that break before Christmas. Her shooting had dropped off. She didn't attend the World Cup in France, but she has come back, put her shooting together, and come back so strong.
Yeah, she refused to be distracted by the weather conditions. As you can see, very foggy. There was a little bit of breeze, as there always is here in Oberhof. Reuschland, one of very few to shoot the perfect score, and skiing as fast as I can remember her skiing. She's a dangerous combination when she puts it together like that.
Very much, and often attending all the World Cups, fatigue or bad habits grow in. She went home, she sorted that out, and looking so crisp and perfect right now.
Well, as you can see, the visibility is much better today. There's still that sort of breeze that often we see comes over the left shoulder, so slightly going with the rounds and blowing from left to right. And the shooting standard here, seldom impressive. What are the Czechs going to do today? It'd be nice to see a good relay from them. Switzerland rather, have been the surprise package in terms of women's relays this year. And again, they've got the 3 Gasparin sisters all going on legs 1, 2 and 3. And then, of course, Lena Heike, who, you know, started the season, looked fantastic, but just faded off a little.
Yes, Heike, really, her ski speed's always there. Top 10, certainly top 5, often top 3, but the shooting has dropped away.
Hannah Erberg, she could do with some good shooting. You know, up and down results for Erberg. Been a bit disappointing, really, this season. What are the Russians going to do today? You never quite know.
Well, last year, on this day, last year, of course, they took the win here. That was something of a surprise, and it was all about their shooting on that day.
In the men's. They won the men's, certainly.
And they won the women's.
And the women's?
Yep.
Wow. Italy hasn't gone the way. They still have 2 world-class athletes and 2 who aren't quite there at the moment, and they haven't managed to put it together. And really, they need to take lessons out of the Swiss who've done so well. These were the conditions in Hogfelsen. Second relay of the year, we had one, of course, in Östersund. Norway coming out on top. Italy's so often, Mike, they seem to get the sort of leg selection wrong. Never quite sure whether to put their 2 best first, or to put them last, or to put one at the start, one at the finish. There hasn't really been any consistency in the team. The Russians, you know, they're always a threat. If you go back a decade, they hardly ever lost a relay. They hardly ever missed a target.
Very rarely off the podium, but those days have changed, and it takes time to rebuild a team, and especially in the relay, you need 4 confident athletes to pull through. Shooting so often one of the best teams, the Russians.
Erleva not racing today. For Norway, well, they started off with Sulumdal, and then they have number 3, number 12, and number 2 in the World Cup standing. So a very, very strong team, the Norwegians, and they're going to wind it up with Tiril Eckhoff, who's very quick, but you know, not the sort of athlete you'd expect to put on the last leg of a relay.
It's incredible. And Royceland, we saw there the anchor leg in Hochfilzen, but it's Tiril Eckhoff today. That's a bit of a change. I thought they would play safe and keep Royceland as the anchor leg.
Yeah, Royceland going on 3 today. So, you know, all sorts of interesting moves, and with the World Championships just round the corner, the teams are playing with the order, playing with the team members. You know, certainly in the men's relay later on, the Norwegians have pretty much gone for a B team just to see who else can cope with the pressure of a relay. And just explain, Mike, how different is the relay compared to the other mass start races like the pursuit and the mass start?
It's a strange one. Yes, you have 3 spare chances, 3 spare rounds, but, and you can see the rifles, the spare rifles lined up there, but you carry a little extra pressure that you could let the rest of your team.
Well, it's time for the athletes, the first leg runners anyway, to take their place on the start line. There's Sulumdal of Norway. What can she do? Look at the 3 that follow her. Tanrevold, Royceland, Eckhoff. They've all been on blistering form this year. And Eckhoff, of course, has closed the gap down in the World Cup standings to just 20 points after a good performance, particularly in Le Grand Bonnat. The Swiss, the surprise package. The Gasparin trio, what a sensational season it's been from them, leading the Germans going into this week in terms of the Nations Cup.
Well, Germany, they really hope to do better today. They had the worst ever. I look back almost 40 years and they had the worst performance there in Hochfilzen, finishing 12th. And sadly, partly that was due to Denise Herrmann missing 6 shots. She only hit 2 targets in the stand, 3 penalty laps for Germany there, and they'll be wanting to put that right today.
Yeah, and Herrmann lost the race for Germany last year, doing 2 penalty loops on the last shoot in this relay. They ended up second, but they were 33 seconds behind, 2 penalty loops, taking some 55 seconds. So she's got a lot to make up for, and Herrmann has again been given the anchor leg, and that's due to a good performance the other day. There you see the German team. Hintz sets them off, and then they're followed by Hettig, Hammerschmidt, Herrmann. All the H's are in there for today's relay. The countdown has started. The 3rd women's relay of the season is underway. 23 teams in all. Norway ranked number 1, Switzerland 2, Russia 3, 4-5 is Sweden, Ukraine, and then France ranked number 6. But they have a fantastic quartet. Simon, Bescon and Monnier Breza. There's absolutely no way they should finish off the podium, but strange things happen here in Oberhof. The shooting is never easy, and the track itself is absolutely treacherous.
As you said, -5, -6 last night. All the rain, the difficult conditions in the previous 2 races here, the previous 2 days, the track has toughened up. And here's the battle to try and create your own space early on, but that's hard to do when there's 23 teams lined up.
Yeah, Julia Simon went very, very hard over the first few metres. There she is wearing 6. How she got to the front for that first corner, I don't know, but that's a good bit of skiing. She knows the safest place to be, and the place where you have the best visibility of the tracks is out in front. So she's burned a few calories getting to the front of the field, but she's setting the pace at the moment. 4 is Sweden. That's Elvira Öberg, the youngster, the young sister of Hannah, who's had it. You know, it's maybe not quite as sensational as her first weekend up in Östersund, Mike, but she's still up there in 29th position in the World Cup standings.
I think it's a 20-year-old, that's outstanding, but you know, isn't biathlon quite strange? You come into your first ever World Cup, Elvira finished 12th, and then it really hasn't quite gone as well since then. Yes, she was part of that bronze medal team at the World Cup in Östersund in the relay, but since then it's dropped away a little.
Zduch up there for Austria, the Swiss with Elisa Gasparin well placed thanks to their position on the start line. Now, number 13, Lisa Vitozzi. Just explain how the woman who so nearly took the overall World Cup last year has dropped right down the order, currently lying in 16th place in the World Cup standings. Is that a crisis of confidence? Has she just lost her form? Did she work too hard last year? What's your theory?
Do you know, it's a tough one. When we saw her face yesterday coming in to shoot in stand position, she was still in the race. She still had potential for a top 3. She went and missed 2 targets in the stand. Last year, she would have nailed them all and gone out and challenged, as she did. She won last year. So it is for me, it's a confidence thing. She did lose a lot of pace as the race went on, especially the last lap yesterday, 2 days ago. And I think that's confidence as well.
Well, we'll find out later on how you put that right as the field approach the fastest part of the course. Still Julia Simon leading, 1 or 2 going for a little bit of snowplow, but that's not easy. Up to 40, now 45, up to approaching to 50 kilometers an hour as they take that left-hander. Saw a lot of falls there yesterday in the men's sprint, Mike. I suspect we might see a few today as well.
I like the way on the descent, though, the speed was killed off a little down the, the Hochwald Abfahrt, the speedy wooden trail it's called. Abfahrt means track. And so yes, coming down very, very fast. A lot of this is difficult, and it's almost like skiing on concrete. The track at the moment is so hard.
But as the race goes on, ruts will form, and that's when it could become a whole lot harder. So Urberg Jr. up alongside Julie Simon, deciding the pace really wasn't quite quick enough. Vitozzi hasn't been squeezed out, actually. She's drifted over to that right-hand side as they ski on that right-hand column, and currently lying in second place just behind Julia Simon. Russia with Retseva on the first leg, Mike. Only, what was she, 50th yesterday with 3 misses. So they're taking a few risks, but it's not a team that's full of big names, is it?
It's not. Well, Retseva, of course, the name itself stands proud. Her mother winning multiple medals in cross-country skiing, and then, of course, in biathlon. She crossed from cross-country. And just watching her skiing there, Retseva reminds me of her mother. She's aggressive, she attacks, but yes, didn't go well yesterday, but I think she'll produce today.
Well, we were talking about offspring yesterday, and how over the number of years that we've been sort of involved in the sport and covering the sport, how few sons and daughters of world champions go on to be champions themselves.
It's incredible. Well, here's Retseva, as we're talking about it, slowly working her way to the front. And of course, her sister, Daria Virolainen, Retseva's elder daughter, she actually raced as well in Biathlon World Championships. It's not as good as her mother either, so it's an interesting one. But certainly at the moment, Christina, this season, yes, she's 23-year-old. She's maturing almost with each race, and confident to take the pace at the moment.
Yeah, it's far more common for siblings to be champions, and the current crop of Burr brothers is an indication of that. And that would imply, Mike, that so much of your success depends on your circumstances and you know, what opportunities you have as a youngster.
Very much.
So the crowd get to see the athletes for the first time. Those in the stands further down the track, they really don't get to see a lot.
Well, they were supposed to, of course, ski past them, but they've extended. We were going to take the very, very Frankfurter Kreuz, the very fast right-hander. And of course, they put the track a little further down to kill that speed off, and that's why they're not seeing many today.
Yeah, and there's talk that they'll have to race on the 2.5 kilometre loop tomorrow for the mass starts, which will mean the men have to do a 5K loop either early on or in between one of the shoots. That's yet to be confirmed, but it does look as though they're going to stick to that 2.5 that we raced on yesterday. So first shoot. And of course they go for the lane that corresponds with the bib number. Norway will be in 1, Switzerland 2, Russia 3, Sweden, Ukraine, France, Germany up to 7. and then the Czech Republic in 8. Often, those further down the field strike first.
Sulam Dal came into the range, obviously with the group, but in 9th position, looking comfortable, ready to shoot.
Sulam Dal looking focused in lane 1. Switzerland and Norway clear that 5th target at exactly the same time. Poland have gone clear. One spare round from Vitozzi of Italy, but she reloaded very, very quickly. Really, we should talk about the victims, and Vera Leinen, 3 misses, paying the price for pushing the pace, being too aggressive.
Incredible. You know, when you do something new, there she is, Retseva. She's struggling now. She's got 2 targets left, 2 bullets left, and the tension now, you can feel it. She's tried to lead this pace in, led it strong, and now it's tripping her up.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say Vera Leinen.
Yes, her sister, who has retired. Slovakia without Kuzmina. Kuzmina had talked about they really hoped that she would come back and just take part in the relays. And boy, do they need her now.
That's good shooting from Sulam Dal. So down through the speed section again, and you can just hear the skis on the ice. Not the sound changing actually from the first leg. Already the surface being cut up just a little bit, but I think it could get trickier and trickier as the race goes on. The Chinese are wearing 15.
Yes, up there in 4th position, and Tang, well, she finished, I was looking at the Chinese team. It seems to be a growing team in confidence when it comes to the relay. They shoot so well, one of the better shooting teams. But Tang only finished 44th yesterday, and that was hitting 90% of the target, so the ski speed letting her down yesterday.
Yeah, just missed out on World Cup points by about 5 seconds, would have got her into the top 40. Lisa Gasparin was the last person to claim a point in the sprint on Thursday. There's Vitozzi now. What happened to the Italians on that first shoot? They only missed 1, and Vitozzi sort of was only 5 seconds behind coming out, so she didn't go with Julie Simon, that burst to the front of the field. There's the second leg skier for Italy, of course. Dorothea Vera, or Doro as they call her on the tour. What a season she's had, still leading the World Cup, Mike, but my goodness, she's under pressure now from the Norwegians, who are threatening. Eckhoff in 2nd, Tandrevold in 3rd. Then we have the French with Simon and Brézard in 4 and 5 in the World Cup standings. And Denise Herrmann, actually, that run of good results, 5th, 6th, 5th, 2nd, has pushed her up into the top 6 of the standings.
Yes, she's always going to be fast, and yes, I mentioned earlier her time over Christmas in Davos. She loves training in Davos. And she says, you know, every time she comes down from high altitude, 1,800 meters, she always feels good. And this is only 800 meters here in elevation.
Well, this is the best performance for, what, 2.5 years we've seen from Sulam Dal. She had a good run out in Östersund a few seasons back, but has sort of struggled with the ski speed. But she'll be over the moon that she's setting the pace.
Setting the pace. And I love the way that women's biathlon has evolved, and maybe even more rapidly over the last couple of years, where the field remains very close. We used to see a runaway German or Russian victory in the past, but so many teams now have the confidence to stay with the pace and challenge the leaders. Unfortunately, picking up from the range previous time, Ivona Fialkova sadly has been round the penalty loop twice, and not difficult conditions. They're way detached at 132 behind.
Now, Dunkley, Mike, of USA, was 17 seconds behind coming out of the range first time round. I think I got a sight of her in that. Yes, there she is at the back of that leading group. That's 17 seconds gained on this 2 kilometre loop. So that's a fantastic effort, but there might just be a heavy price to pay for such an output of energy before the standing shoot. And, you know, her standing shoot, what was it, 16, 17, when she was on such good form? It's sort of faded in the last couple of seasons.
I would love to see Susan pull this back, get 5 out of 5. I don't think the pace was that fast at the front. You know, there's no real leader there in terms of skiing, so it wasn't the fastest pace, but that's good news for the Americans.
So Hojnish of Poland is first in, perfect shooting first time round. How many teams do we have clear? 1, 2, 3, only 5, 6 or 7 teams hitting the perfect score first time round. A miss from Norway and France. Keep an eye on the American target, about 6 from the bottom. Poland, very slow to strike the first one, but into a rhythm now. Well, none of the leading teams clearing all the targets. A chance for China, but they throw that by missing the 4th target.
Vanessa Hintz, that's the tough territory now. She's got 3 spare rounds. In fact, she's got 2 spare rounds now, 2 targets remaining. Big pressure.
3 misses from Sulumdal. This is a pressure shot. Penalty loop if this doesn't go down. Germany in the same boat, so are Ukraine. And Ukraine actually already on the loop. Germany with a loop with Hintz. Norway get it down, last gasp. But what's that? That's going to be at least 25 seconds given away by Norway. Well, Dunkley, good shooting.
Fantastic. Look at this. Is so sad for the German biathlon team already so early in the race. They're way behind. It's going to be over a minute.
They break to the right, and that's tough times for Vanessa Hintz. You have to feel sorry when it goes wrong for the home team, Mike.
It's a lot of pressure. I saw her face on the start line, and Vanessa Hintz, she was trying to get a lot of oxygen in. You could feel the nerves, and often that isn't the case when you're racing at home in Germany. Retsova, she used all 3 spare rounds. I think that's a good comeback up to 17th. She was down in 22nd.
I guess that's one of the advantages of coming from a lowland nation, is you never get to race in front of your home fans. But did you find there were places where you felt more pressure than others? I loved it in Oberhof because you felt that everybody was cheering for you, and that isn't normally the case when you're racing around World Cup tracks. So, second shoot completed. Here's the order. Italy with Vitozzi leading, as they should be. Highest ranked skier from last year, certainly on that first leg. Switzerland, France, the top 3. And then Norway dropping down to 12 with those 3 misses on that second shoot. Sulumdal, a little bit of skiing to do on this last lap. Well, it sets up an interesting situation, Mike. Italy will expect to lead at the halfway stage. Can Vera break away? Doesn't really have the ski speed to get away from, say, France and an Ace Bescon, who's on the second leg. But her shooting is quicker than anyone else on that second leg, so we could see up to a 30-second lead for Italy going into the third leg.
Possibly, and Vera, she'll shoot fast. Vitozzi missing 1 target each time in there, one in the pro and 1 in the stand, but putting them down straight away, using 1 spare each time.
Sulumdal now at 30 seconds, losing another 4 in the first kilometre of the last loop. Round the tricky corner, Vitozzi, very, very cautious indeed. And that gave Julia Simon the opportunity she needed just to close the gap. Poland with Hojnish in 3. And looking good, and guess who are going well again? The Swiss, with Elisa Gasparin up there in the top 4.
Has so much confidence, and I think Sandra Flunger has given that team so much confidence. She said, I want them shooting faster. They really have concentrated on spare rounds, on relay training. And look at where they were last year. The Swiss team, 12th, 10th, 10th, 5th and 13th from all the relays they did last year, and now they're ranked 2nd.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's hope they keep it going for a while longer. Let's hope that they're in the running for a medal come the World Championships in Antolz. Now, a team that deserve a mention at this stage, we've name-checked Susan Dunkley as she puts the graph down. The only team to have shot clear so far, team number 21, that's Bulgaria. Milena Todorova hitting 10 with 10, and that has put her team not into the lead, but they're in the top 10 at the moment, and only some 24 to 30 seconds behind, depending what's happened over the last 800 metres.
Slovakian team, Ivona Fialkova, unfortunately, has been on the penalty loop again. They're 2:43 detached, and that's, what, a minute 20 behind the second last team, which at the moment is Canada. Boudry normally doing so well in this race. She didn't race yesterday.
Yeah, Canada 5th in the last of the relays in Hogfilson, 16th in the first one. Looks as though they might be repeating something similar to their first effort. Already a margin of 2 minutes 43 between first and second place, and we haven't even finished the first leg. That does not bode well for Fialkova of Slovakia.
Yes, down in 23rd, and it would be a real bad experience if Slovakia were lapped today. Hopefully the next 3 athletes will get the targets down and they will stay in the race.
And that's a team, Mike, that finished 6th in the World Championships last year. Of course, they had Kuzmina as an anchor leg, and she was absolutely key to their success.
Yeah, really, such a pity. But stand alone, you know, the names in that Slovakian team: Fialkova, Poliakova, and then older sister Paulina Fialkova, 3rd leg. She'll pull some time back.
Yeah, Makinyakova, the last leg, may not even get the race at this rate. They're going to have to pick up the pace. What's the 2-kilometre loop taking? Just under the 6-minute mark. So we start, and Poland will be delighted to be in 4th, just 11 seconds behind the French, who lead. Italy 2, Switzerland 3, as you can see for yourselves, and the USA in 5th position. But the USA, like the Italians, putting their best first. Elvira Öberg working hard, lost a bit of time on the range second time round. The Swedes have already used 3 spares. What are we saying for a spare? Settle for 8 seconds per spare?
7 or 8 seconds. With the wind is playing its part today. Tandrevold setting out strong. She didn't ski as fast yesterday, Tandrevold.
Yeah, 12 seconds lost by Sulumdal on that last 2K loop, Mike. Yeah, she'll be really disappointed with the shoot. She worked hard, but just didn't have enough in the tank. Germany get underway. Look at the margin. Look how much time they've given away on that first leg alone. But if there's a team that can make a comeback, they are it. And with Hettig, Hammerschmidt, Hermann taking the last 3 legs, they're still not out of contention for a top 3. Austria with Katharina Innerhofer, Christina Rieder and Tamara Steiner, the rest of the Austrian team. And here comes Dorothea Viera up against France's Anaïs Pescon. An interesting battle on leg 2, and the Swiss in 3rd. Welcome back to Oberhof. The race leaders, France, Italy and Switzerland. Absolutely astonishing what the Swiss keep managing to do in the relays. Long way to go today, of course. Poland back in 4 at the moment. USA coming around the corner with Claire Egan in 5. So all those teams have had a good start, Mike. But the Swiss, the Americans, the Polish, certainly you would, and the Italians, you'd expect to fade away. So really at the moment it looks very good for France. Sweden, who are back in 6, certainly in with a chance, and Norway closing fast with Tandrevold.
Just interesting there, Tandrevold. She didn't perform to expectations yesterday, and we've seen some very good biathlon from her this season. And her ski speed, not as good as it has been yesterday. Now she's got a lot of work to do. Is she going to put herself under pressure coming in for the first prone shoot? Yeah.
It's difficult in a relay, isn't it? When you're chasing the game, you tend to make more mistakes. With a crowd like the one we have here in Oberhof, and fantastic, incidentally, to see so many people out on the tracks. That's where the athletes like them, supporting them on this big climb here in Oberhof.
And you know what, Patrick, with a track change, I think it's not that difficult on the range with 3 spare rounds in terms of prone, but we were coming up this climb here, and then you turn right. Normally we turn left under the bridge, but turning after this brutal climb, turning right into the range. Yes, it's gently up, but it's a tough one. They never before have they turned right under this bridge, and I think it's just that new experience is putting them under more pressure in prone shooting. There's Zingerle on the left, being a huge part of this women's team.
What do you think Vera's greatest asset is in terms of a biathlon? We know about, the ski speed is okay, just slightly above average. The shooting speed is phenomenal. Her accuracy, is it the head? What is it that's so special about her?
Do you know, honestly, I think it's her carefree attitude. She says, oh, if she has a bad day, she says, oh, well, that's annoying. Didn't mean that to happen. Didn't work. It's gone. Forget about it. She doesn't dwell on the past. She only thinks about the future, the next shots that are coming up. And she goes in there neutral, not worrying, not stressing. And she's mastered that more than most big-name biathletes throughout the history of biathlon. She's a master of this, normally, of the shooting game. She does have her bad days, and as I say, she throws it away. All right, learn from that, get rid of it. Doesn't dwell on it.
What are we going to see from Vera today? She's been happy to sit in behind the French lead. Bescon skiing well, 21st in the World Cup against Vera's first position, and then the Swiss, who are currently lying in third. How long is this run of success going to keep going for Switzerland? Ranked 2 with a second and a third place finish so far this year.
We saw Frank Bedeau, the shooting coach of the French team, looked a little worried that an ace was coming in first. And it hasn't paid off on the first shot. Look at Dorothea Vera, she hesitated that last shot.
Yeah, chance for Switzerland to take the lead, and they will do. How about that? Selena Gasparin, the most experienced, the oldest of the three sisters, getting clear just ahead of Dorothea Vera, and France with a little bit of a meltdown. Mike, the pressure's on.
I do think it's the entry to the range, so you haven't quite got the recovery you normally get on this range. You dictate your own pace in, of course, and she dictated what she wanted. It hasn't worked out.
Are we going to see a penalty loop?
I'll hope no. She'll take her time now. She's vastly experienced at 32-year-old.
Sweden are clear. France are clear.
She got it.
Whew. A sigh of relief from Bedeau. The Polish, they are on the penalty loop, so that's the end of their top 5 position for now at any rate. Finland, don't usually see too much of Finland until the end, after the start of the relay. Mari Ida handing over to Kaisa Mäkäräinen, who often takes the first leg. So again, they put their strongest players first. Germany get 5 down with 6 shots. That's a little bit of a recovery, but they were 57 seconds behind coming out of the first exchange. So what have Germany managed to do? And has Janina Hettig, who's the least experienced of the Germans, has she coped with the pressure? Well, that's not a bad start, Mike. She's lost 5 seconds, but she's shot reasonably well.
It's not bad. Biggest surprise there for me was Poland and Zuk, junior world champion. She's a good biathlete. Felt the pressure there today.
Good shooting from Selena Gasparin. Gasparin, of course, 2 individual World Cup wins to her name. Not since 2014 has she been on top of the podium, but a class athlete. Switzerland ahead of Italy, and the Italians are going to have to work very, very hard. We've got Sanfilippo, and we mentioned Carrara at the head of the programme, you know, getting her first outing in a World Cup at the start of this week on Thursday, and here she is taking the anchor leg for the team that are currently up in the top 2. Big move coming in from Tandrevold, Mike. We saw her chase hard on that first lap, led to mistakes on the range. Same could happen again. Well, you know, what would you advise your athletes to do in this situation?
Well, I think Tandrevold, when she's a little off the ski pace, you would want her to stick, and it's quite a danger that she's sticking with the fastest on this leg, and that's Mäkäräinen. Is that going to be a danger? You would ask her to play safe, ski as normal, not take any risk, because when you've got Eckhoff, or of course Reuschland, then Eckhoff, you've got 2 very strong cards, last 2. You just don't want any risk at this stage.
Vera and Gasparin, who would you say was stronger in the core? Vera much more steady with the upper body.
Yeah, that's another aspect of her improvement coming into this season. Her ski speed is consistently better.
Yeah, I love the way she stamps that leading leg down and then holds firm with the upper body. Doesn't have to throw it from side to side. Here come France.
And Ace she'll be disappointed using all 3 spares and taking a lot of time in doing so. And she's trying to bring some time back on the track, and with that comes out of breath for the stand shooting.
She was 31 behind and has made no gains at all. Lost 0.3 of a second. That doesn't matter. It's probably better to contain herself on this lap, get the targets, and then let rip on the final 2-kilometre loop.
Tandrevold still staying in behind Mäkäräinen and getting dragged along, staying in the slipstream, if you like.
Celia Monnier looking very, very nervous before her outing. She doesn't know where she's going to be starting yet, but there is a chance she could be leading.
There's the change, the coach, the Austrian coach who's coaching the Swiss team, Sandra Flunger, and what a great job she's produced.
Yeah, exciting times for Switzerland, and their relay performance is so much better than their individual performances. A little bizarre. But this is where the Swiss maybe taught a lesson in how to shoot standing up. Gasparin, though, hugely experienced.
Very much. Look at Vera's stance. I like the way, technically, maybe ski shouldn't be over the edge of the firing point, but that's her stance, and it
There's
works
the first
so well.
miss from Vera. And again, so advantage Switzerland.
The wind was strong there. Vera took the risk. She shoots so fast, but often in that wind, doesn't make it any easier.
Now, I'm pretty sure that was a miss again from Vera. Hasn't been registered. And Selena Gasparin is away. How things can change. A penalty loop for Italy. And it's all starting to go wrong. A long, long, long time before we thought it might for the Italians. Can she limit it to one? No, she can't. So suddenly, having said the best standing shoot in the game, she hits the first three with no problem at all. And then misses the next 5 shots.
That's the trouble with rapid fire shooting. You're missing, your brain hardly registers, right, oh, I've missed one, oh, I've missed 2, oh, I need to rebuild and regain.
So France, who were 31 behind after the last shoot, get that back down to 24. Good work from Bescon on the range. The Americans get away. Only 1 spare round required from Claire Egan on that standing shoot. What about Tandrevold? 3 misses. This is a crunch shot from the Norwegians.
You know, when you're not in form and you try and stay in the slipstream of the fastest skier, you push yourself over that comfort zone. Well done to Tandrevold. She's away.
There'll be a big cheer if Germany's last target goes down. There it is. And are they getting closer to the leaders? At the 3rd shoot, Germany were 1:02 behind. So they've not managed to claw back any time, but they were down in 11th and they exit in 9th. So slowly, slowly clawing their way towards the front of the field.
Well, we're seeing Selena Gasparin here. She took her time. The wind was not easy during this 5 shots.
Yeah, long delay between 3 and 4, Mike, which often leads to a miss. This is the one where she just waited and waited. Lots of movement in the upper body.
And shots 4 and 5, that's when you're running out of air. You need to rebreathe, rebuild, but you can see how strong that wind was.
Yeah, fantastic reflexes.
Happy days. Aita, she was looking nervous earlier. She's looking less tense now.
Well, look at that, a 24-second lead. They could be leading the relay standings if Norway have a disaster on the second half.
I think on the Tour de Ski, the cross-country Tour de Ski, when Selena, there she is, took part in the first 2 days, I thought she did really well. Normally, in biathlon, you carry a heavy rifle. You have at least two stops in the race for up to 45 seconds. You get your breath back. She was out and out racing. And she was only, what, a minute 43 behind Johaug over 10 kilometers.
Nice to see Mäkäräinen working her way towards the front of the field. Finland were down in 11th at the first exchange. Mäkäräinen now back into 3rd position, 29 seconds behind. We got Sweden in 4, America in 5, are still going well for them. Innerhofer of Austria 6. There will be plenty of changes. Italy have gone all the way back to 7th with those 2 penalty loops from Dorothea Vera. What was that all about? Tandrevold of Norway in 8, Hettig of Germany down in 9, 107 behind, and Ukraine with Zima making up the top 10 in this women's 4x6. It's Switzerland leading. They've had a 2nd, they've had a 3rd. Are they going to get a 1st and complete the set for the season?
It's exceptional. The first ever relay was only, what, 7 years ago at the World Championships in Ruhpolding. What was that, 2012? They finished 21st then, so the journey up to this point, it hasn't taken long, and of course Selena's been a huge part of the making of this team, and of course her 2 younger sisters are alongside her today in the team. This is strong skiing on a mission.
How many kids has she got now? Is it 2?
Just 1, I think.
Just 1?
Her husband racing in the distance races. Of course, a Russian, Chernusov.
Selena Gasparin, 35, of course, and the family coming from Pontresina, just down the road from St. Moritz. It's a beautiful area. A lot of teams use it for summer training, and then, of course, for some high-altitude training in the early part of the winter as well. they ever had a Biathlon World Cup in Switzerland?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And they, before I started biathlon in the mid 80s, in fact, 86,
1880s,
1812. No, yeah, no. 1986 was the last time I remember watching that race and being fascinated with how it works in biathlon.
So, nervous moments for Aita Gasparin. The first two sisters have done a much, much better job than anyone would have expected. Switzerland leading at the halfway stage, and they're unlike most of the sort of, I was going to say second rate, but I mean those teams just under the level of the big four. Switzerland have not put their best two first, because Lena Heike, who takes leg number 4, is a very, very solid biathlete and turning out to be a really solid anchor leg runner.
She has been safe, and her statistics, her shooting stats worry me at 75% hit rate, but she's got 3 spare rounds.
Suvi Minkkinen now on course. Mäkäräinen, that must have been the fastest lap of the day, Mike. Finland had gone from 11th all the way to 2nd. Phenomenal skiing. And Mäkäräinen taking, 4 seconds out of Gasparin on that last 2-kilometre lap alone. France in 3, 41 seconds behind. Bescon tired. She lost over 13 seconds on that last loop. And Sweden in 4, USA 5, Norway now 57.5 behind. Tandrevold not really undoing the damage done early on.
We must big up the American team. That's second best shooting, equal second best shooting stats, and fabulous first couple of legs there from the Americans.
And a huge roar for Germany. The crowd are still with them. They're still believing that Hammerschmidt and Hermann can do something in the closing stages. 1 minute 20, it's certainly not impossible, but they've got a lot of good teams to overtake, and the shooting has got to improve from Germany. So far, they've already done a penalty loop, and that's really what did the damage.
I have to say, Hettich, for the first time involved in a Germans relay team at home in Germany, I think she coped very well. Kept Germany 120 behind. It's still not great.
Messy handover from the Poles.
Watch that rifle.
Zblilut now out on course for them. No damage done. What a day this could turn out to be for Switzerland. 26.9 ahead coming out of the range, 27.7 ahead going through the 0.8 kilometre stage, 800 metre stage on this first lap of the third leg. And I must say, Aita Gasparin skiing very, very nicely. There's no panic in there, Mike, but it's solid, efficient, well-balanced skiing.
A lot of pressure as well when you're 27 seconds ahead. You haven't been in that situation before, so it's a new world out there. But you know what? Sandra will have told her just to, listen, stick to normal process. We've done this hundreds of times in training. Just try and pretend this is normal. And that's the best way for biathlon, or you get so tight, so nervous when you're holding a rifle. And you begin to lose your thought pattern. So hopefully she's just treating this as a normal afternoon skiing.
Yeah, the Swiss have gone for the same team in the same order as they did in Hogfelsen. Why change it if it's working? And the good news for them, if it means anything, is that Aita actually shot the perfect score in Hogfelsen and really set Lena Heike up with a chance of finishing in the top positions. But Heike actually missing, doing a penalty loop on that last thing. They still hung on to a top 3, but it could have been so much better without that loop.
And I think with respect, Suvi Minkkinen chasing her, she's not the fastest. In fact, she's being caught up here as we head in towards the range. It's still a good pace. Minkkinen not losing too much at all.
And you know, we talk about penalty loops, Mike. It might be worth explaining that to do a penalty loop, you've got to already have used 3 manual loads. So you're looking at a minimum of 50 seconds given away on your time.
Absolutely. So you're, first hand fed spare, second hand fed spare, and often it's a slow process because you're desperate to get the last shot. You take longer, and if that misses, then it's a penalty loop.
Yeah, and should the leading 3 teams all do penalties on this next shoot, then that brings 8 teams into contention for the win. So that's how quickly it can change.
So much can change when someone as phenomenal as Dorothea Viera can miss 2 targets. Then today anybody can, and the wind is reasonably challenging. You can see the flags there.
Yeah, that's picked up dramatically from when they zeroed before the race. Has Aita picked it up? She's had a good long look down the range. That was at a change in the sights. I think it might have been.
The flags certainly have. We'd expect a shots if they're going to miss. There would be 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock area on that target where they would miss.
Well, it's over in the right, probably in the 7 ring. That was better. Oh, way left. So snatched at that one. That's better.
That was a nervous, a preemptive drag on the trigger, and you get this snatch. A nervous reaction almost.
Rebuilds the position,
Beautiful.
Gets a 10 to finish, just as the others settle. Finland still up in the leading 4. They're in lane 2, France lane 3, Sweden lane 4 at the moment, Norway just arriving, and Roichland with a lot of work to do. Roichland now at 52, so she's clawing the time back slowly, Mike, not in a rush. A miss from France. Now, Norway, Austria, Italy have a chance of getting back into contention for the podium positions again.
France, Monier just tightening up there, looking fearful. Roichland in command, Norwegian.
So Roichland yet to miss a target here in Oberhof. Went clear in the sprint to win that one. Hits the first 5, no problem at all. How quickly things change. That's why the relay is such a fabulous race. 5th to 2nd for Norway, and they were 52 seconds behind. That's been slashed to 39.5. Brorson of Sweden is away, and the French in a little bit of bottom. France, both in the men and the women's, have so much potential in the relays, but they're sort of going through the phase that Norway went through a decade ago.
It's so strange. I mean, you would expect better. What a pity there for Finland. And Minkinen, she struggled. The pace was fast for her, and it didn't work on the range. There she goes, round that 150-metre penalty loop. Yes, Hammerschmidt, she's from Ruupholding. The World Cup goes to Ruupholding next week. Still there, 108 behind, but well, these crowds, these spectators want them on that podium.
She's cut it by 12 seconds in one loop. They still have 5 loops to go, so that's another, you know, they've got to keep that rate of improvement going, but it's not impossible.
And they've got the strongest athlete last. And Herman's going to have to push the pace, therefore maybe risking it on the range.
Just 1 spare from Switzerland, and unbelievably the Swiss have only used 2 spare rounds. Austria can better that, missing just 1 target so far today. Great shooting from them, and that's why they find themselves in the top 5, but the smiles on the Swiss faces getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I just wonder what is going through Heike's mind, and whether she is set for an occasion like this.
A lot of pressure on Heike, and I don't like talking about negativity, but at 75% hit rate, Heike, she does shoot better in this race with 3 spare chances, 3 spare rounds each time. And let's hope this is an amazing day for the Swiss team. It is so far.
Roichland still just slowly clawing back. That's another 4 seconds that she's pulled back over the last 800 meters. The uphill sections are where Roichland is gaining, and her confidence must be high after that immaculate performance in the sprint event. Strange how your World Cup ranking really means nothing in the relay. It's all about your mental ability to cope with the pressure. Italy trying to get in contact with that chasing group of 3. Austria's still there with them. Good performance from the Austrians, Mike.
It is. The shooting has been exceptional from the Austrian team. I often wondered when the Austrian team are going to threaten the podium, and maybe it's today. I think Sanfilippo has done a fantastic job. She was handed over to, 58 seconds, 103 behind, and she's improved on that to 46.
I tell you what, if the situation stays as it is now after this second shoot on this leg, we're in for a fabulous finish, because Switzerland have got Heike, who's quick but not the fastest. Sweden will have Hannah Öberg, of course, Olympic and world champion. France, well, they've got Justine Brézard, who on many occasions has been the fastest woman on the tour in the races this year. And then Norway with Tiril Eckhoff, who's, if anyone is threatening Brézard for the fastest position, it's her. So could be some fireworks on the final leg here in Oberhof, and the crowd deserve it. They've stuck out 2 days of miserable weather. They've had a little bit of sunshine today. The tracks are in much better condition, and the racing certainly more exciting than it's been over the last 48 hours.
It certainly is, and think of the pressure that's growing in the German team. Hammerschmidt, it's a big occasion. And then, of course, Hermann hasn't had a lot of luck in the relays lately. Hochfilzen missing 3 targets, 3 penalty loops. So that's got to be in the back of Denise Hermann's mind, taking the anchor leg for Germany.
Now, it looks to me, Mike, as though the Swiss have done a lot of strength training this year, much like the French. Certainly posturally, you know, the body control of all the Gasparin sisters is so much improved, and the efficiency as a result is much higher.
Very much, and especially with that, the heaviest part of the rifle is the barrel, and that sits so high up on your shoulders. You need a lot of core strength, or the body flops around and you lose energy. You need good, clean energy through the edge of the ski, and Reuschland right now is showing us the stability and the strength. Hips move slightly left and right. Head's almost dead center, and that's beautiful rhythmic skiing.
Core strength has come on from just the basic sit-up. Always worth going on YouTube to see, you know, Russians training in the gym looks pretty brutal. The Norwegians, they're always thinking of new ideas. Most teams follow the best, so they follow the Norwegians. The Norwegians have to think of what to do next. I'm sure some of them are red herrings just to get other teams doing the wrong sort of thing. But, you know, the work rate is there to be seen as Germany try and close the gap. Hammerschmidt has got a tough task today.
She's pulled back 4 seconds. That's good going. That's on Aita Gasparin. Aita not the fastest.
Yeah, Germany have to shoot clear from here if they're going to challenge for a top 3. Not sure a win is going to be possible, particularly if these 5 targets go down. 8 shoots in all. This is number 6.
The hesitation there, well done, she got it. Slightly high right by a centimetre.
Needs this, she's got it. Low and slightly right again.
Just feel nerves are jingling away there in her mind.
So 1 high right, 1 low left, and suddenly Norway are on the charge. Reuschland with her first miss of the weekend. France could be the team that go out of the range in first position with 4 laps still to be skied. 3 misses now from Aita Gasparin. Oh my goodness, her mind will be playing tricks on her. France go 5 out of 5. Sweden match them. Norway with Reuschland need this, but she's thrown 1 wide, so another 8 seconds given away.
Aita's just gone so tight, so stressed, because 2 teams are gone. She came in way ahead of anybody by 25 seconds.
Limits it to 1 penalty loop, but the chance of a podium, I suspect, has gone for the Swiss. France, Sweden, Norway, all with exceptionally fast skiers on the last leg, are only separated by 13.7, and that margin, I can guarantee, will be a lot less when they come in for the handover.
What a race, and San Filippo looks like it's a penalty lap for her, and Germany just, well, 1 target remaining. Oh, Hammerschmidt, she's still got another chance, but running out of the safety of getting that target down.
Leaders already on the tracks for 45, so it's going to be roughly a minute that Germany find themselves behind with 4 laps to ski. 15 seconds per lap. It's going to be tricky. Hermann is going to have to be at her very best.
Looking at Aita Gasparin's time, she didn't ski too hard into the range. She deliberately backed off to keep her composure. She was okay the first couple of shots, and then the mind, as soon as she just missed her, I think it was her 3rd shot, she started stressing, and that tightened up her whole feeling. Her calmness disappeared.
Yeah, 3 and 5 went wide for Gasparin. That 3rd shot, absolutely key, would have settled the nerves nicely. But Mike, The wind is as it was for the prone shoot about 5-6 minutes ago, but the standard of shooting has suddenly dropped. Guess why? The pressure is building, and it's going to be even greater for the last leg, particularly with three teams so close together. So let's just see, within the first minute, 7 teams.
Look at that spare round. The brain just goes into a tightening situation, panic. She's put that 5.1mm bullet into the chamber so many times. Sandra can't believe it.
What a contrast from 6 minutes ago when they saw Aita go through the prone shoot. There are the standings. France leading the way. Sweden, the Olympic silver medalist, the world silver medalist in second, and Norway in third. Tyrrell Eckhoff, Hannah Øberg, and Justine Brezard, three of the best biathletes on the women's tour, all poised to go, and they could all be starting together. Reuteland, remember, 13 seconds off the lead of the French coming out of the range. 13 seconds is an enormous margin to make up in 2Ks.
Do you know, I love the way she's paced this race. She didn't stretch herself out on the first lap. The second lap, she opened up. Now she's fully opened up to her top pace. And that's good news for Tyrrell Eckhoff and for Norway.
And maybe a comforting fact for the Norwegians, Mike, is that Eckhoff, who started the pursuit in Le Grand Bonnard with a lead, managed to hold that lead all the way through. So she is capable of taking the pressure of being out in front.
What a fabulous run of form she had before Christmas. And I bet she was disappointed Christmas was coming, because you often want to keep racing when the form is that good. Anyway, we've got a chance to see her after Christmas again.
And to be honest, her performance in the sprint, finishing 5th, wasn't bad at all. Just missed 2 targets. Still the fastest skier out there. So we know Eckhoff's on good form. Øberg has certainly got to improve the shooting, which has really let her down so far this season. But only 6 seconds separating the leaders, and Norway going from 3rd to 1st on that last loop.
Rita, this is a good news day for Austria. Again, a lot of these teams, women's teams who were late coming to biathlon, let's be honest, Austria, it's only in the last, we've had 1 athlete occasionally. Now we've got 4 that can compete at this level. This is a great day for Austria.
Tamara Steiner taking the last leg for Austria. No World Cup points for Steiner, actually. This is her introduction to World Cup racing, so she's under pressure. 71st in the sprint the other day, missing just 1 target. So she does not have the ski speed of the athletes on, the top 6, the 6 other teams in the top 7.
It's a tough moment taking that anchor leg for Austria. What about Switzerland? Aita, she ran out of spirit really in the last lap. She lost a lot of seconds to the lead teams. Yeah,
it's going to be a tough dinner for her tonight, sitting around the team table with the 2 front runners going so well. But we'll see. Heikki might pull them back. There's still a chance they'll finish in the top 3. There's every chance that one of the leading 3 teams, Mike, will crack on the range. So they shouldn't give up at this stage. Germany, 2 kilometres ago they had 15 seconds to make up a lap. Now they've got 20 seconds to make up a lap. Hermann, has she got to lay it down, take the risks?
She has to, and I think she will push the pace. Well, this is a fabulous relay.
No breakaway from Tyrrell Eckhoff at the moment. Brezard, though, will know she's a match for the Norwegian. And credit to Hannah Øberg, who's hanging on in there. Which one of these is going to make a mistake? Or will any of them make mistakes in the prone shoot coming up very shortly?
Well, there's a lot of pressure each way you look at it. Øberg and each 3 of them looking comfortable at the moment, each of the 3. The pace hasn't opened up all the way. It's as if Tyrrell has been briefed, been coached to say, OK, take it easy on that first lap, then you can outski the rest of them.
You will have picked up on the little red bollards which have been put in just to try and slow the speed down. Hasn't really done much to achieve that, but nicely taken by Tyrrell Eckhoff. Brezard with the classic alpine pose, with the arms out to the side and forward, knees forward as well. And Øberg, who's the tallest of the athletes on this leg, just struggling a little on that corner. What's important is not the speed that you go in, but the speed that you come out of the corner. And again, Øberg just that little bit scrappy, and a 10-metre gap's opened up.
I thought Tyrrell Eckhoff was magnificent there. Very little movement. She wasn't tense on her skis, and that's why she managed to pull away, grab a a few meters at least on that corner. Composed and so strong.
Beautiful technique from Eckhoff, leading the way at the moment. Brizard, she must have a heart and lungs the size of a horse, the way she's been ploughing around the track so far this year. And Hannah Öberg, Mike, what a sensation, of course, getting that Olympic title, which shocked all of us, but then went to the World Championships at home in Östersund and got herself another world title.
At home, that was tough. Her father alongside her, he was in charge of the range. It was a big, big day for Sweden. She hasn't looked that great coming in December. We mentioned that earlier. There's Patrick Oberegger for Norway, the Italian, working for the Norwegian team. But I think today, Hannah is looking in third place there. She's looking much better. It looks like she's got some of her old movement back. Her confidence will be back a little from the good result yesterday.
Well, again, we have to praise the crowd here, because the atmosphere has just built and built and built throughout the day. I don't think a single one of them will leave before the men's relay this afternoon. They'll be hoping for more of the same. Germany on the chase, and Hermann has a lot of responsibility on her shoulders.
Well, Hermann has pulled back 5 seconds on Heike, who's very fast on her skis as well, but Heike easily, it looked like, fairly easily staying in behind the fastest skier, Hermann.
Where's your money?
Right, this little mix. The wind is playing a factor, so each of them will need to be careful and not do a Dorothea Vera where you just charge through your shooting. Eckhoff often can take risk and shoot fast, and I don't think that's a good strategy today. I'll go for the Swede, who will remain calm and just stick to a slower routine, so we'll have to wait and see.
Well, in terms of shooting, Eckhoff has got 88% hit rate in the prone this year. Öberg, who your money is on, has got 80%. And, of course, Justine Brizard, 83. So Eckhoff with the best prone shoot. With the stand, Eckhoff's on 77, Brizard's on 70, and Öberg's on 79. So Öberg has the best standing shoot record for the season so far.
It's a little worrying that Öberg has been off form, and when you try and lift your ski speed above your current comfortable place, that is always a risk when you come into the range with the likes of Eckhoff and Brizard.
Yeah, the two fastest women on the tour, and she's stuck with them. Might be a sign that she's improving. It might be a sign that she's decided to race their race and not hers.
I think she has to go with it. You know, if she stuck to her pace, she'd maybe be 8 seconds, 10 seconds behind. I think she had to take the pain here and stick with this fast pace set by Eckhoff. What are the flags doing? Still the same wind from the left over the left shoulder. The coaches have well briefed them as to how that wind is affecting the sights. Will they change their sights?
And what about the fact that France have only finished 6th and 7th in the relays so far this year? Does that increase the pressure on them?
Possibly not. I mean, they're feeling good at the moment. It's going well. Eckhoff did adjust her sights. I think it was 3 left into the wind and a couple up. Absolutely spot on.
Advantage Brizard, taking an extra 3 seconds on that first shot and taking her time, but Eckhoff might be able to reload and get the last target down before... Oh, Brizard throws the 5th one wide. Another mistake from Eckhoff, and now each performance is affecting the other. They have to zone out, and it's Sweden with Öberg who clears first. Eckhoff may clear the range first, though. And Brizard, very disciplined, Mike, not to rush that final shot.
You haven't to panic, and that's the trouble. Once you start panicking, you lose your way, and there's nothing in this. I think Brizard will try and close this down quickly, but it comes with a price.
Yeah. Germany versus Switzerland for 4th and 5th, with Austria still very much in touch. Great performance by the Austrians so far.
Pigrushna coming in. She's got the best shooting statistics for Ukraine.
A mistake from Heike. Did that affect Hermann? Quite possibly, or was it the wind?
Well done, Heike. It looked like Hermann, so she adjusted into the wind, which is correct, but she certainly pulled a couple of those clicks back when she missed, so maybe she thought she'd offset too much for the wind.
Hermann taking 6 seconds out of Heike on that last loop, but look at this, she's going to have thrown away 16, maybe even 26 by the time she comes out.
She will know 20,000 spectators and the pressure that comes with that. And I think that's why she took so long. She was trying not to let that pressure affect her and get maximum recovery, but it comes with a big price of time.
Now Austria desperately need this. Top 10, if you'd offered them top 10 at the start of the day, I think they'd have said that's okay, but they were looking as though they could make top 5 if things all went right on the final leg. Eckhoff with that slight cant to the rifle. Her shooting has improved so much over the last, you know, the beginning of the season wasn't brilliant, Mike, but ever since we were in Hogfilson, she's looked not unbeatable, but she's looked competitive in every race.
She certainly has, and this is quite strange for me. I thought that Eckhoff might try and charge away, but she still looks so easy and composed on her skis.
Well, I think the script writers would have had it exactly how it is. 3 of the best, side by side, 1 shoot remaining, and begs the question, Mike, if they all come out of the range together after the final shoot, who is going to win the race to the line?
Well, Eckhoff certainly in this section of the track, she can get away. She did it last time. Look how firm she is. She just edges neatly, the rest stepping a little early maybe, and Eckhoff away. And that's a big gain at this stage for the final lap if it should be the same. Her skis are running well also. It'll be so exciting if they do come out of the range 1, 2, 3 like this. But a lot goes through your mind now leading up to the final shot, the final shoot in stand shooting. And I think that Eckhoff, just for me, looks so composed. It doesn't look like she's over-stressing physically.
47 now for Switzerland. Germany have gone from a minute to a minute 18. Their chance surely has gone now. 13, that's Italy, Michaela Carrara, and if she holds on to top 7, that's a good race for them. The Italians haven't been good this year, 12th and 11th. But the biggest disappointment for Italy is, of course, the fact that Dorothea Viera blew all those targets in the stand position. The 1 or 2 nervous-looking coaches around, Mike. This is what they stick around for. And, you know, we were talking, a friend of ours, Alistair Vestal, who's a keen fan of biathlon, we were talking about the most exciting race we've seen. And he went back many a year to his best race. In fact, it was Vancouver in 2010. This is building to be an absolute classic.
It is. I mean, the journey these 3 teams have been on. Of course, Norway were way down 45, 48 seconds behind. They had to work hard to get up to the front. France, throughout, they've been consistent. And then Sweden, they were chasing some 40 seconds, but they're back at the front. A little bit of a chess game.
A little bit of a move from Justine Brezard. Is she playing a crafty game? If you feel you can cope shooting the final stand shoot with your pulse a little bit higher than the rest, then maybe that's a good move. But it's a high-risk strategy from Justine Brezard at the moment.
I'm wondering if she was just reasoning. The wind is from the left. If I get on lane 1, I'll have two athletes to my left, and therefore their body size will block a little bit of the wind that's going to hit me and my rifle. Maybe that was her thinking. It's not always an advantage going in first.
In terms of victories, Sweden, 10, 15-second lead needed to hold on.
I think safely 11, to 15 seconds. She would need that, I think, with Eckhoff chasing.
So a clear shoot from Öberg with 2 mistakes from the Norwegians and the French might be enough to hand the Swedes a victory. 1 miss from the French and the Norwegians, and then Sweden are right on the edge. Tiril Eckhoff, can she afford to miss 1 and still stand a chance?
I think she can. I think she could even miss 2, and I just feel that Eckhoff is going to release those shots very fast. Patrick Favre there for the French team, the Italian coach for the French team.
So France, the Olympic bronze medalists, are in there. Sweden, of course, took the silver in Pyeongchang. Norway, disappointing in the Olympics, but they did win the world title last year in Östersund.
Who's going to be brave?
Oberhof going for the fast shoot. Eckhoff just controlling herself. Now she starts right to left. 2 misses from France. That might be Brezar's chance gone. Sweden could be the first to hit 5. No, there's a miss, and Eckhoff throws the last one wide. The pressure is on. Biggest shoot of the season so far in the women's relay. Will it be Sweden? Will it be Norway? Oh, Eckhoff clears, and that should be enough for the victory. I can't see Oberhof being able to chase her down. 5 go down for Sweden, but those 3 misses have lost them some 24 seconds. And Justine Brezar, who, you know, it's been a good season, and she's been mightily impressive on the skis, but that will dent her confidence.
I can't understand. Yes, maybe it was because of the wind, but her pace change coming up into the range, I think that's what's made her struggle in her stand shoot, Brezar.
Took the risk, and it hasn't paid off on this occasion. 21 behind. Can she gain 15 seconds on Oberhof? Well, we said that was probably the limit.
So
Heike needs 5, needs to get these down.
3 spare bullets, 2 targets left.
Herman, in certainly her least favourite discipline. Now. Fans will enjoy this if all 5 go down.
The race is on.
Great shoot. Your money has to be on Herman there. Heike has got to try and use the slipstream all the way around and then just hang on for grim death as they come up the final climb. Ukraine secure their position in 6th, I feel, ahead of the Italians. But Carrara, big moment for her. Let's see what she's made of, Mike. As we mentioned, her first ever World Cup meet.
It's impressive. I mean, first ever time in the relay at World Cup for Italy. She might have bought herself a position at the World Championships in the relay.
At least you'd be able to say she shot better than Dorothea Vera. Not many people can say that on many occasions.
Oh, she's struggling now in the last shot. She's got 2 spare shots bullets remaining. Russia, that was impressive. In, out, no messing about.
Down it goes. So the Italians are away, top 8 at the moment. Belarus chasing hard. Kuklina for Russia, 155 behind. Russians, I don't think we've mentioned them more than once or twice, Mike. They blew it early on.
Well, and last year I thought they might come into today with positivity, having won this relay last year, but it hasn't happened. Eckhoff, total control, a little slip out there, and taking it very wide. Have a look, a quick look over her right shoulder, and she'll know that it's 18 seconds now. Back to Oberhof.
Well, it was 6, and we now have only 9 seconds between 2nd and 3rd. So Justine Brezar may be thinking she can make up for those misses in the stand and get France back up in a 2nd place. But there is absolutely no way they're going to chase down the Norwegians now, who will make it 3 out of 3. Germany go through, 1:13 behind, never really improved their position or their time since that halfway mark.
Look at the pace of Herman. They went out of the range, only 1 second separated. In fact, Herman was behind Heike. Now she's so far ahead. Bigrishna hit all 10 targets with just 10 shots.
Only 5 teams, I think it is, just waiting to get confirmation of the Chinese performance. Only 5 teams avoiding the penalty loop today. 3 of them are in the top 3. Shows you the importance of the shooting. At the halfway stage, Mike, there were some very impressive shooting scores, but it started to crumble later on. Norway have missed 11, Sweden have missed 10, France have missed 12. And, of course, Justine Brezar having an absolute nightmare on that last stand.
What a team this Norwegian quartet are. And they have played around with the 4th athlete, but this is their longest winning streak, by my reckoning, going back all the way to 2001, 2002. They won the World Championships in Östersund. Then, of course, they won the first relay again in Östersund. They won in Hochfilzen, and they're winning again today. 4 straight victories.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that famous smile before too long. Eckhoff has had a look behind. She's not going full gas at the moment. She'll want to save something for the mass start tomorrow. Oberhof is going 100%. She's trying to hold off Justine Brézard. That's going to be a tough task because Brézard has been absolutely sensational on the skis this year. What is the time margin? Last time we saw it, Oberhof was at 18, Brézard was at 27. Here comes Eckhoff into the finishing straight now. She can relax, let the pulse drop, and just savour the moment. Another fantastic victory for Norway. They won in Östersund, they won in Hochfilzen, they've won here in Oberhof. All they've got to do now is back it up with a World Championship victory as well.
We've known a long time how good Eckhoff is on her skis, but she would often crumble in shooting terms. She's absolutely holding it together throughout this whole season.
The best from Sweden so far this year. They've had a third in Östersund. They've gone second today. Well done to Hannah Oberhof. Brézard, well, she took a gamble and it didn't pay off. We've seen it many, many times. And every time someone tries something different or an ambitious approach to the range, 9 times out of 10, Mike, it backfires. So why do they still try?
I think she'll be regretting the energy she had to put in to pass, to go wide and then get past Tyrell Eckhoff. It was a massive pace change. She wanted that lane 1, but it didn't pay off. And I think she'll review that maybe for the next time this happens.
But worth remembering that France have been 6 and 7 in the 2 relays. So to get on the podium, that's why they're celebrating. And Germany, yeah, putting a little bit of respect into their result. 4th place doesn't sound too bad, but it all went wrong so early on for the quartet from Germany. Hintz, Hettig struggled on legs 1 and 2. Hammerschmidt couldn't do anything to improve the position. And then Hermann, yes, she was quick, but didn't have that immaculate shooting that she needed if she was going to get Germany anywhere near the podium.
And it's the biggest run of bad luck in terms of relay for the German team in its history. So it's not going that well in terms of the quartet. Switzerland's
worst result of the season, 2nd, 3rd and 5th, but you know, any of them are better than they did last year, so I think they'll still be happy. It was Aita Gasparin on the 3rd leg where they cracked a little under the pressure. Sulumdal for Norway took that first leg. What an important role she played. Yes, she lost time on that last loop, but her prone shoot was good. So often they lose time there. Stand shoot, not the best, but Sulumdal maybe securing her place for the World Championship relay.
You need maturity, you need somebody that isn't going to crumble, and even though it was windy and she had missed some shots, her composure was still there, and she thankfully didn't have to turn right onto the penalty loop.
Russia crossed the line just in time to see the top teams lined up for the photo shoot. Norway in the centre, Sweden, of course, on the left of your screen, France on the right.
Belarus just ahead of Italy. Belarus 8th, and that's Italy into 9th.
Well, that may have been Germany's best chance of getting on the podium. It's going to be a tough task in the men's relay, which comes up later on today, starting at 1 o'clock UK time. Norway again probably Norway have put in a B team, so I can't see them being favourites. I think we have to give it to France, but you know, France never really cope well with being the favourites in a race.
That's interesting. Maybe with Matan having found some of his magic, well, he won the race, maybe all of his magic back, they're going to feel good again. They need a safe team leader, if you like, and that's going to lift the team. On paper, I think the ski speed alone, even if they're missing the odd target here and there, they've got an incredible ski speed.
Yeah, so it should be France's day a little later on today. That was the Czech Republic just crossing the line. The Czechs 8th and 6th in the previous 2 relays, so that's their worst of the year, but still all 3 in the top 10. 3 penalty loops, that's where the damage was done. And Austria, who faded badly on that last leg. Tamara Steiner really struggling, but remember, it's her first World Cup experience, so she just has to take the positives out of everything that happened and learn from what went wrong.
Very much, yeah. The young athlete from Ramsau dashed down Glacier. She's trained there so much. It's a big experience. She only missed 1 yesterday and finished 71st. So her ski speed, I think she did well today in relation to her performance yesterday. And the Austrian team as well, just trying to find a quartet that works.
USA, it was looking very good at halfway, but finished down in 12th position in the end, and just ahead of Poland, who were up in the top 3 for the first half of the race. Well, that's all from Oberhof for now. We'll be back just before 1 o'clock for the men's relay, the 4x7.5. Germany will be desperate to finish in the top 3. Norway, France amongst the favourites there.